Yo, what's up? He's Greg. I'm your boy Robert. We are the All Out of Fucks podcast. It's episode 37. What's good with it, man? What's good with you, man?
And chilling, trying to get into some of this warmer weather. It's all
Man,
starting to break.
hey, I can't wait. It's like getting out of jail.
I know,
Never
right?
I've never been in jail, so I don't really know what that feels like. But I can imagine how that shit would feel, and it's got to be pretty fucking close.
You start
Um,
counting the days like a motherfucker, boy. You like, ooh,
yeah,
shit, three more.
and I think what's funny about living in the Midwest where it gets cold as fuck is how going into the fall and into the winter, shit drops to like 40. Motherfuckers be like, oh shit, it's cold as fuck. Or 50, like, oh, I got to put on some jackets. That shit, if that shit hits 40 or 50 this weekend, I'm out on the deck smoking.
Yeah, if that shit hit 40 or 50 this weekend, I'm out in my goddamn shorts.
I, I just
um,
think I just think that psychology is hilarious. Like it's funny. It happens every time too. But
yeah, yeah.
um
Come,
but yeah,
what was it? What was it like? This year it came actually kind of quick. Normally it stays pretty warm going almost into Thanksgiving, but this year it got kind of cold quick. And like say come October or something, people was like, "Oh, I need a jacket. Oh, it's 57." You like 57? You need a jacket? What the fuck is going on? And
I,
now you like it's 57. You're gonna be like, it's so hot. Oh, it's so hot. It's 57 degrees.
anybody from the South Side or anybody from Chicago in general knows you do not pull your jackets out too early.
Oh
Like
hell.
everybody know that Hawk don't like you pulling that jacket out too early. Then you'll be cold all winter,
Yep.
fucking
Yep.
around. Like I had to my wife be pulling out her big bubble joint too early. I'm like, don't pull that shit out.
Your body gonna get used to
Right. So, but shit, but before we jump into everything, as always, thanks for checking us out. Thanks for listening on whatever platform you guys are checking us out on, wherever you're subscribing. As always, please leave us a review, leave us a comment, whatever you feel like you want to do. We appreciate it. We'll try our best to kind of respond and shoot us an email, whatever. But, we always appreciate y'all taking your time doing something that you don't have to be doing. So, we try our best to give you content that we'll give you. I mean, I'll let you judge whether or not it's good content, but we're gonna do what we do regardless. So that's y'all know how we do it. But with that being said, man, how's the week been generally? Let's blow a little smoke.
well, this week, this past week, generally it's been good. I tried to stay primarily off of social media, like as far as looking and see what the hell's going on. Um, I tried to stay off of all the news channels because, yeah, if y'all don't know, I will watch all the news channels just because I want to compare and contrast the shit that they saying and whose propaganda is going to be like leading and all that other shit. So I'll watch all of them. I even stomach Fox. I'll stomach Fox just so I can see what their take is. And this past week, I didn't do too much of any of that, except for the one that just hit me square in the face, and for some reason, I just could not avoid, and that was that fucking Ted Cruz shit. And
I knew you was gonna say it. I knew it.
that shit, boy. I mean, that's the one that hit me in the face. I mean, like a goddamn brick. So minus that, I pretty much been like kind of off the grid and trying to, refocus and uh, take care of some personal stuff and you know do this hunt for this house. And I mean that shit is what it is. I just would like to go ahead and thank all the people out there that's able to get a house and congratulations, but fuck y'all for making it hard for me with y'all competitive asses sitting here overpaying for a motherfucking house. That what? Actually, I think about it. This is actually might be good. So in the next 5-10 years, your ass is gonna have a house that you can't sell for that fucking price. So I'm gonna giggle. So other than that, it's been a good damn week.
If you can't tell, uh, Greg definitely got some mad rapper shit going on. For real, like he's super salty at y'all. If y'all buying houses right now in the Columbus area, he mad at y'all for real.
Oh,
It
man,
just,
it's so bad.
they like, hey, big money, big money takes little bank.
That's
Big money
exactly what's
takes
going
little
on.
bank. They're like, look, you better pull out what you got. You over here trying to lowball folks. Like, I'm about to get you.
And it's gonna work too, eventually.
Eventually, right? That's the trade off. The
I
trade
know,
off.
right?
Like, if you're not about to put all the chips on the table, you're gonna play this thing out.
I know, right? That's the shit though. That's what's happening.
But no, I know that shit can go. That shit is I can't imagine what it's like right now. We tossing around the idea in a few years of looking at something else, but I don't feel like entering into that market. I don't want to think about moving. I don't want to think about packing shit up. I don't think about none of that right now.
Right,
Like,
right,
anybody got time for that? We got this house and see what we can, hopefully get some equity in this bad boy, keep it moving. But
right.
as far as the week's been, it's just been a busy ass fucking week, man. We got that. So obviously, for those of you listen to the show, I'm a lawyer and we're representing the Andre Hill family out here in Columbus.
Mm,
So that's been, full bore ahead. So we're just trying to make sure we hold the city of Columbus accountable. So that's what I've been doing. It's been busy, just basically every day. We're trying to get that case together, getting our investigation together. So we'll keep y'all updated on what's going on. For those of you who don't know, they indicted the officer was that last week? These
yeah, I
days are
believe it was
bleeding
last week.
together. So that's good. So, but we don't want indictments. We want convictions. So that's what we're asking for. We'll make sure everybody keeps pressure on the city, keeps pressure on the mayor. Make sure they know y'all still there. Back this family. It's a wonderful family. It's unfortunate that this happened. It's tragic actually, but they all are. So Casey Goodson's out here still. His shooter still got his job. Hasn't been indicted. So that's some bullshit. So
Mm.
put pressure on these folks. That's what we need. So enough business on that end. But that's what my week's been really dealing with. I really need to. I just realized that the shotgun that I bought, I have not put that joint completely together. I got to do that this weekend.
I was
Just
about to say, yeah, how'd that come out? You ain't put it together.
nah. Shit. I ain't got no time to shoot it or go nowhere to shoot it. So shit. I ain't in no rush. But there's a comfort level about having that motherfucker in the house. Though I'll tell you that. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
I
tell you right
told
now.
you.
Just in case I can get down here quick and get it together. But yeah, everything else has been cool, man. I know you've been watching these Bulls get it in. They sitting here at the ninth seed. This is what we've been relegated to as a Bulls fan, like hoping to get in the playoffs and shit. No, Greg thinks we just a year behind. We might be a year ahead of schedule, or next year's our year, or next year's a year to see
Hmm.
significant growth. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Um, they seem to got the talent. They just they can't get healthy. Porter's out. Markkinen's out. I get the feeling like they're either not going. I don't know if Markkinen's contract is up or what, but I get the feeling like he might be on the trade block.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's been in and out for now, what, 2 years now? He's been in and
yeah,
out.
he can't
Yeah,
get healthy this year. Like
yeah,
we can't get 100%. Like we're sitting at the ninth seed and we haven't even been able to play everybody consistently. So Porter's been out. But we were talking about before we got on. Levine's been getting it in. Like if he doesn't get if if he doesn't get appointed as a reserve, I'm gonna be real salty. All right, real talk.
I don't know what we're
I
measuring
mean,
anymore if that doesn't happen. I
this
just
dude's bananas. Like they just had that game a few games ago, and I think they hit like shit, fucking what 25 3 pointers or some shit.
Yeah,
Like shit was bananas, and he had like 9 of them. Like that's crazy.
yeah,
So they need to show him some respect,
yeah. I
and I gotta
mean,
give him props because I gotta give him props because at one point I was kind of like, I don't know about this dude. We'll see, but there's no reason to believe he can't be the man on the squad. Like he's doing it. Like right now. So
yeah, they playing with the
we'll
Rockets
see
right
what
now.
happens with this All Star.
Yeah, ain't they?
Yep,
Okay.
they are. They are.
Yeah,
I mean, shit, but they don't mean shit anymore. The motherfucking Rockets is terrible and terrible.
on top of terrible.
Yeah, man. Like Rockets is they traded Harden. It was a wrap. sometimes you see teams like get better. And I'm gonna try and throw it on the joint just so I got it going in the background. Hey, do you check out this show Snowpiercer?
No, no, no. What's that? I've heard vaguely. I've heard of it. What is this?
Yeah, it's a show. So basically, it's a show about so basically the world drop the temperature drops across the world, and they build this perpetual running train, and
Okay.
it's like 100 cars long, I think, maybe longer, I can't recall. But the series is based on a movie. The movie was pretty good. So when I heard the series was starting, I was like, all right, I gotta check this shit out. And the series is pretty decent. It's got oh boy, what's the brother that plays in Hamilton? He was also in Blind Spotting. So it's a black dude. Um,
Uh,
forget his name, but anyway, it's a pretty good show. I mean, it's an interesting concept where basically the people who are left in the world, they all live on this perpetual train, and the train has just everything. It's got like, they obviously got gardens and shit. Like they built this train to just constantly circle the world.
okay.
So it's an interesting concept. I like it. It's pretty interesting. So, and on top of that, I've always liked the idea of I never got a chance to do it, and I'm probably not gonna ever do it now that I'm married. Of going cross country, doing a cross country trip on a train. I
I
should have
wanted
done
to
this.
do that when I was younger. Then I realized I don't want to be on train that long.
It depends, man. So I think it depends. Obviously, there's gonna be stops, right? But it'd have to be one of those trains where you either have like our own personal car. It's got to have like an alcohol car and like a restaurant car. Like I'm
Hmm.
all for that shit. I think that'd be a fun time. My wife shot that shit down real quick. She was like, "I'm not doing that." So I guess I was like, I'm fucked, right? So she's like, basically, fuck your dreams. Like
Yeah.
you want, because I mean, what we gonna do now? We got the kids, so like you're not about to leave your kids for what, however long a cross country trip on a train takes. What about like who knows, like 15 days or some shit?
Right.
Like so
That
that shit's over.
I was
Like
about
it's
to
a
say once they graduate college, what you
yeah.
do
But
is
by the time they graduate college, it ain't gonna be fun. Like
I
you
was
know what I'm
about
saying?
to
Like it's fun now. I can let's go kick it. Let's go. I'm not to say that you can't have fun, older age, but shit, it's different. Then you going to bed at 8 o'clock
I was
all the
about to say
time.
that alcohol car ain't gonna be there.
Right.
Oh shit.
But
No.
whatever. So that's one bucket list item I should have done. That should have been something I made my wife do with me when we were courting. Man, should have made her do that shit, and then we could have got out the way, and then we've been straight. But now it's all good. Fuck it. I am a little salty about that. Like when she shot the shit down, like no,
Yeah,
I
that
was
who's
like,
the mad rapper.
this motherfucker just say no,
And she did it quickly. She was like,
like
before you
no
even
question, like not even like a debate, like oh okay, let's talk about it. No,
no, get that shit out your mind. That's what
that's
she said.
bullshit to me.
Say, get that shit out your
I mean,
mind.
I mean, honestly, is that a crazy concept to want to? I mean, the same. I
No,
don't know.
you'll see a lot of good shit. I mean, the scenery alone would be amazing, actually.
I think, and part of it, I think, as a grown man now, is the idea that I don't have to drive any place. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on the train, I'm definitely riding because now you at the stage now where as a grown ass man with a family, like either you flying someplace and you don't got to worry about it, or you driving when you get there, or you driving to wherever the fuck y'all going, right? So like,
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if it gets to the point where I think it's going with this driving shit, and me, I'm gonna just go ahead and trust in that damn Tesla and let that bitch take me everywhere.
nah, fuck that.
Here you go. I'm a lay back, close my eyes, and
Nah.
call it a thrill ride.
Hey, you ever sing in the upper room? We on deck. We next.
We next. We are on deck. He said on deck for what? Well, the upper
The
room.
upper room. I had my son singing, and now he be singing, and he don't even know he's singing. He'd be like the upper room. My wife be like, really?
Thanks. That's what she said.
It is
Thanks,
what
motherfucker.
it is. What it is. If I can't go cross country, this is the fun I gotta have. Shit. Shit, you're gonna ruin take my other dreams out. Well, this is what happens when I get bored.
Right. When I get bored, this what happens. How about your dreams now?
So, but shit, man, fuck it. It's been super fucking cold, right? So, and up here in the Midwest, it's funny how we just kind of deal with this shit. Like it's 15, 25 degrees. Like it's kind of fucked up initially when it first starts up here.
Right.
But after you get used to it, you be like, all right, whatever, it's cold. Just dress accordingly. We about to go about our business. Ain't nobody shutting shit down. The school buses are still moving around here and all that shit. Like other than fucking there being no snow blowers anywhere, by the way,
Yeah. Out.
and
All out.
being no ice melt, no snow, no salt, no snow, no salt anywhere. Like it was just, I mean, it was a lot of shoveling, a lot of sore backs, but other than that, you kind of adjust. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
fast forward to the great nation they call themselves, Texas. They shit just fell apart, and they shit fell apart off of what, like 20-degree weather.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let me start off by saying, because there have been some serious things that happened in Texas from this winter storm. So I would like for everybody to know that I am not making light of those who have died in Texas. So I'm going to start there now, but I'm gonna finish here. So the great state of Texas, when they all sit there and say everything's bigger in Texas and don't fuck with Texas and Texas, we our own shit. We don't need you. Go fuck yourself. And Texas, all this and Texas, all that. And
You know what else
everybody
is
else,
bigger in Texas? Electric bills.
electric bills like a motherfucker. Let me explain something to you. When you told us that we are all a bunch of pansies and fairies and all types of snowflakes, who's the snowflake now? Who's the snowflake now? I'm telling you, this is ridiculous. Now, like I said, there was some serious things, and I'm not making light of that. But the other parts that have made their way to social media, like Twitter, where the one woman was sitting in, this lady was sitting in her house going, "I don't know what we're gonna do," and clearly all she had to do was go and like open the door. There had nothing had been falling into the, like, you I've seen videos where the roof had caved in and
Right.
it's just water everywhere, whatever. She sat there and was like, "It is just cold. The thermostat." And I was like, "The thermostat? You got no electricity. What are you talking about?" And she's sitting there just making this video, and I'm like, either you just making a video to make a video to put on Twitter, or you clearly have no friends that could help you. It's so many different things about what I've seen, and it could have all been avoided. This is what happens when you have the wrong people in government. And this is not a Republican Democrat thing. This is a dumbass motherfucking thing.
Kind of is though, man. Like the whole reason why people, I guess it depends on like exactly what aspect of it we're talking about. Because I mean, these bills. So one of the things that kind of stood out to me when I saw an article pop up was there's people legitimately out here with like $10,000 and $17,000 electric bills because of how they do. So first of all,
Oh yeah, I was
if you
gonna say
don't
let's
know,
break this down for
yeah,
people.
first of all, so
Yeah,
electricity in Texas, I think generally the state, honestly, I think is deregulated, right?
it's completely deregulated.
Since it's deregulated, it's like the wild wild west. So in Texas, you've got the ability to either choose a fixed rate plan, which basically means, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, which
Mhm.
basically means that you got a fixed rate. So you pay a certain rate and it's locked in. It's probably
It's
it can be it's probably higher than it can be at some other times, but there's also a variable plan where basically the variable plan it fluctuates based on the market. So whatever the wholesale price is for electricity per kilowatt, that's what you pay. Now,
right,
by and large in Texas, it doesn't get super cold or any shit like that. So,
right.
when there's no fucking blizzard, like it's cool. Like people are paying cents on the dollar.
$60. Yeah, I was
Right?
about
They're
to say
not paying
sixty
a lot,
bucks a month.
right?
Yeah,
Well, fast forward to this shit when everybody's turning all this shit up, and so the market price of the whatever the dollar per kilowatt, whatever the shit was, it skyrocketed. So now for the folks who had electricity, I didn't even talk about the folks who didn't have electricity, but the folks who had electricity, there's folks out here walking away with like $10,000 electric bills, $17,000 electric bills. That's fucking bananas. Like, and so when people talk about regulation of the market and regulation of different industries, this is this is the downside to not regulating the electric industry in Texas. Like they want to talk, they want to be under Republican control, and let's keep it real. Republicans favor deregulation, and
That's
just
been always roughly a staple of the conservative party. Yes. And for you people to understand this, what with regulation also comes protection. You have to look at it in that form too, because clearly right now what's happening to all these people is there's nobody telling them they can't do it, as far as these private companies that provide electricity throughout the state of Texas. You can choose, so it's a free market system. You could choose who you get this electricity from, but right now no one is going to stop them from sending you a $9,000 bill for the month. This ain't for the year, this is for the month.
that's crazy. Like, look, I read an article about this was it was a guy. His bill was 16,752. I wrote it down. He is a army vet who lives on Social Security. He had to basically drain his savings in order to pay this electric bill because of how they function, how they do shit. Like that shit's crazy to me. Like there's no reason why a bill should ever be, especially I don't care what type of crisis is going on. Like I don't know that we've spent $16,000 for electricity. Shit, I mean I'd have to combine years. I don't even know. I mean, I'm trying to think.
I was about to say, look at it in terms. I'm just going to break this down to you so for people who can really understand what the fuck. Look at it in terms of a cheap first car.
Right. I mean, I don't even know about like I would have to, if I'm being honest, like maybe 3 years of electric payments would total 16 grand, maybe,
I man, dude, like
maybe.
I'm seriously look at it. Break 16 off by like 5 years.
Initially, I
See what
did
that
it.
is.
Initially, I did it like 1,000 a month, right? So 1,000 a month would be 12,000. That's a year, right? If you spend 1,000 a month on electricity, you're probably not spending 1,000 a month on electricity, right? So let's say, I mean, shit, you're right. You're right. It's worse than that. So
That's what I'm
worst
saying.
case, worst case scenario in the wintertime, you probably maybe you might spend $200 or $300, right? Maybe $300.
Yeah, see, what I did was I broke it down to basically 16,000 by 5 years. So that's 60 months. If you did it like that, that's $266 a month for 5 years.
And you'd still just barely be reaching like his bill for what? Like maybe like a week, if that. It's probably like a week or 5 days.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I'm
that's
saying.
that's criminal. Like real talk. Like that's some criminal ass shit. Like
Oh,
that's why motherfuckers want to blow shit up for real.
yeah.
Like there's no reason. So then they'll blame people. Say, well, we told people to switch companies. Like ain't nobody got time to switch companies right before a fucking blizzard's about to happen. Like you see a blizzard's about to fucking happen, you like, all right, let me change this electricity. Like that don't even make fucking sense. Like
Yeah. So when this shit happened in 2011, they sat there and said, okay, this was a pretty bad storm. We got some problems. None of this shit's weatherized. We probably want to look into weatherizing some of this shit and maybe give ourselves a chance. We don't expect this shit to really happen again, but I'm just telling you, we should weatherize this stuff and give ourselves a shot. What they said was, nah, fuck that. However long we can go, we can go. If we can not weatherize and pay that money, and that money can go into the coffer or whatever else, then that's what we're going to do. As a government, that's what they chose to do. Now, in Texas, they don't pay no state income tax. So that means you got high property tax and probably high ass sales tax.
right.
So if you got no income tax and you got this property tax and sales tax, think about what your property taxes are going to look like after this shit. I mean, you're screwed.
Yeah, and the shit is crazy. And then to add on to this shit, so I don't know if I sent this to you or not, but like, so did you read about this mayor there in Texas, in Colorado City in Texas, who went in on people on social media? And I gotta read the shit verbatim because otherwise you guys won't believe that I'm telling the truth when I tell you what he actually posted. So this motherfucker, so he's the mayor of a West Texas town, about 4,000 people. Um, and it's located between Midland and Abilene, Texas. So they obviously they got hit with all this cold weather. So let me see if I got the full here's the here's the full message. Of course, he's deleted it, and I'll tell you the outcome of this shit after I read the post. So he says, "Let me hurt some feelings while I have a minute." So he's feeling himself, right?
Yep.
No one owes no one owes you or well, no one owes you R. He spelled it ARE, but we're not going to talk about his spelling. Fuck it, hey, we might be reaching. So
So,
so no one owes you no one owes you R, your family anything. Nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this! Exclamation mark. Sink or swim, it's your choice! Exclamation mark. The city and county, along with the power providers or any other service, owes you, in capital letters, nothing! Exclamation point. I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout! Exclamation mark. If you don't have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe. Period. Um, I didn't know we were generating our own electricity out here, but fuck it, I'll keep moving. Um, if you have no water, you deal with if you have no water, you deal without and think outside of the box to survive and supply water to your family. If you ain't digging wells, like how the fuck are you supposed to supply water like on your own? Explain that to me. But that's not where it ends. If you are sitting at home in the cold because you have no power and are sitting there waiting for someone to come rescue because you're
come
uh,
rescue.
because you're lazy, and of course he spelled your YOUR because he's a mayor
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Colorado City. Um, you're lazy because you're lazy is direct result of your raising. This is terribly
Direct
written.
result of your raising.
Only the
Oh,
strong will survive and the peak will perish. Spelled PARISH. Apparently, we're in New Orleans, speaking of parishes, but whatever. Um, like this, I mean, he's elected to that shit, but folks,
He's an
folks,
elected
God,
official.
right, folks, God has given us the tools to support ourselves in times like this. This is sadly a product of our socialist government, where they feed people to believe that the few will work and others will become dependent for handouts. Am I sorry that you have been dealing without electricity and water? Yes, but any place a semicolon after water and then yes, I don't really understand. Like it's just like people use anyway. But I'll be damned if I'm going to provide for anyone that is capable of doing it themselves. We have lost sight of those in need and those that take advantage of the system and mesh them into one group. Bottom line, quit crying and looking for a handout. Get off your ass and take care of your own family. This is all in response to people not having electricity or access to water. Am I missing something? But unless you live in a town where everybody's digging your own wells, or and I don't even know. I mean, I guess you could generate your own electricity if you got wind turbines. But
hmm.
my guess is everybody ain't walking around here with a wind turbine, and you're the fucking local government. It's absolutely your job to provide those things for people. Like it's not even a
That's
question.
it. See, here's the thing. He
So let me
doesn't
hear
know
what
the
he has.
he doesn't know the definition of community. He doesn't know the definition of local government or government in general. Okay, it's a system you pay into anyway. Number
Or the
one.
definition of a handout. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
clearly don't know what a handout is, what people consider a handout.
right.
Oh, so
A,
I didn't say how it ended. So fast forward. So of course he resigned, right? Because for whatever reason he didn't think that was going to be a problem when he posted that shit to Facebook, with your
hmm,
dumbass.
hmm.
Like so, posted it to Facebook, and of course he resigned, saying, "Well, if the only regret, I think his comment was, my only regret was that I made my views public." He said, "I didn't mean to offend like older folks who don't have access to certain stuff." Like
But you didn't stop to think about older folks in your community, older folks in your town. You
he
just thought,
actually he actually spoke about him. He just didn't. He was feeling himself. Maybe he was probably having one too many. I don't. Who knows? So I don't think. I think he just thought that he got real reckless, like a lot of these Trumpers were getting at one point in time, and felt himself and thought he could say whatever. And now look at you.
He didn't stop to think about. So you let's say, okay, let's let's just take it backwards just a little bit. Let's just say you are a retired military veteran and you probably fought in a couple of wars. Let's well, I mean, at this point, Vietnam would probably be the oldest war where somebody would be elderly. So let's say you fought in Vietnam and you retired honorably and you're on a fixed income from the country you served honorably, and you live in Texas, and let's say you might have some medical problems from that war, like, I don't know, a bad leg, missing an arm, or something like that, that you can't freaking dig a well or generate your own electricity or do all these things for self. And you're sitting there hoping that the government that you're paying all these high sales tax and property taxes will be helping you in situations like this. And to have that mayor say the shit he said is why folks need to vote.
Well, so I didn't even realize. So as I was listening to you, I was looking further. I never looked at the quote unquote apology. So long story short, he was like, he basically was like, "Fuck y'all, y'all misinterpreted my actual words."
Your
Um,
actual words was dog shit, and we
yeah,
had to we had to piece the
and
shit together.
what he's really salty about is his wife lost her job for being stupid enough to defend his simple ass, and now he's mad. Um,
Pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. You don't need
right,
that damn job. Obviously, she don't need her job. Y'all need to go ahead and create a job
right,
and
right,
start your own business.
right.
If you sitting at home because you feel as though you are unemployed, you might as well just need to stop being lazy and create your own business, and therefore tell your wife to do the same. You see how stupid that sounds?
I'm just like I'm not really amazed, but I guess I am a little bit like at the level of stupidity at times. Like, for you to be so indignant, like, and then have the nerve to be illiterate as fuck throughout your entire post, like, it takes a very high level of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. Like, I don't think they make a word for idiots like that,
I
but
was about to say stupidity. I don't
I
know
mean,
what.
stupid. I guess that's the best word, but I like, and you know how it is when you see something like that. I initially saw it and was like, "Oh, this isn't real. This
Right.
is this is satire, right? Like, it's got to be satire." And then like I kept digging into it. I was like, "No, this is some real shit. This motherfucker actually said this shit."
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing me that to have the nerve to tell people go generate your own electricity and go get your own water. Like, really?
Isn't it okay? So it's Texas, right? So
Right.
there's oil all over the place somewhere in there, right? What if people, I don't know, had land and the government came in and said, we want to take your land over. We're the government. We can do that. What if they just sat there and said, "No, quit being lazy. Go find your own land. This my shit." That can't happen. It's just dumb to sit here and tell somebody to go generate their own fucking electricity and and have a well to get their water. That that's not how this shit works. When I buy a house in Texas, I don't sit there and go, "Oh, does this house have its own wind turbine so I could generate my own electricity and not be on the grid of anybody, and I'm self-sufficient and I don't need anybody, including my neighbors at all?" Nobody does that. People see that damn house in Texas and go, "I'm gonna move there. It's gonna be great. We taking our family out of Chicago and all this cold weather." This
Right.
is this.
Yeah, that shit, that shit's real life. I will say this though, seeing all that shit pop off in Texas did get me off my ass and go buy a generator.
It don't it.
It's sitting in the garage right now. Like,
I was about to say, won't it do it? Well, like you sat there and went, you know what? I could get me a generator real
yeah, I
quick.
was like, look, I ain't about to be, especially, especially I got two small kids here. I'm like, nah, and it's not like it's not a generator for necessarily the whole house. It'll do the main shit that we need, right? But temporarily.
Right,
But
right.
I was like, let me go buy this shit right now. Went and cop that shit. My wife was like, you got that big ass generator? I'm like, hell yeah, I got this big ass generator. Like, we ain't fucking around. I
No,
got time for that. Like,
when this shit kick off, you gonna thank me for it.
right.
You gonna
That
you
shit
gonna
running.
so
that shit
so
running. We can run these heaters and still keep this refrigerator moving.
this
Shit.
is a
We,
article from I'm trying to pronounce the name correctly. Cyranak Hale Spencer, and it's about the wind turbines uh, that the
okay.
governor claimed was the problem. So it says a steep decline in energy generated by fossil fuels and nuclear power plants were largely responsible for the power outages in Texas during the deep freeze that recently gripped the state, according to the operators of the state's power grid. These are the people that run the grid. They're saying, yeah, so it's not about the wind turbines, it's about all this other shit. It goes on to
Well,
say, despite the fact that several high profile conservative figures, including the state's governor, have wrongly placed the blame for power outages on wind turbines and have tied the issue to the Green New Deal, that which is the
of course
legislation
they have.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is the legislation Democrats proposed in 2019 with the aim of creating jobs and significantly reducing the country's greenhouse gas emission. It didn't pass in either the House or the Senate, but its tenets are still popular among progressives, and President Biden has supported it. It says that uh, Governor Abbott got on Fox and told this shows how the Green New Deal would be a deadly deal for the United States of America. Our wind and our solar, our wind and our solar, they got shut down, and they were collectively more than 10% of the power grid. So first off, yeah, I don't. Well, for those who are going to watch this on YouTube, you can see my face. First off, anytime you tell me your solar gets shut down and the sun never fucking moves, uh I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a dumbass. Can you say that maybe the panels, the grid in which that trap the energy, whatever, maybe that stuff got off? But anytime you say the solar let us down, when has the sun let you down? Do you understand? Without the sun, none of this shit is here. None of this shit is here. The sun goes away. Guess what? You go away.
that reminds me. Quick side note, reminds me of my son, my 2 year old. In the morning, sometimes when the sun is shining through the window, I'd be like, "Turn the sun off, turn it off," because you can turn lights on. You like turn it off. Like, look, motherfucker, you turn the sun off, it's over for everybody.
It's
Like,
over for
it's a,
everybody.
you can't. That made me think about that. Like, it's the exact conversation I have with my 2 year old. Like, so you Republicans sound like my fucking 2 year old talking about turn the sun off with your dumb asses. Like, he's not dumb because he's a 2 year old. He doesn't know any better. Like, he's like, hey, turn the shit off. But you're a grown ass fucking man or woman talking about these dumbass issues.
Oh, the sun let you down, huh? Okay. That's what's hot in the streets. The sun let you down.
Well, one of the other issues, though, is the fact that the United States, a lot of the United States electrical grids are completely out of date. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, so and the rejection of climate change and all that type of stuff, and the rejection of alternative energy sources by typically conservatives and Republicans and probably moderate Democrats, like that asshole in West Virginia. Um, they they reject the idea of developing new electrical models or developing different energy sources because now we say, and one of the things you hear about oftentimes is that if anybody wanted to really attack from a terrorist perspective our electrical grid, it'd be easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy basically to send us back into somewhat of a dark, not a dark age, because I mean, shit, the people do have alternative forms of energy, but still, like the fact that we haven't upgraded our electrical grid in any recent time period, that's a problem for real.
Well,
Um,
we have an
I just
infrastructure problem. We have
oh
an
yeah,
infrastructure
absolutely.
problem.
Well, across, I mean, even simple stuff, and this is a bit of a tangent. Like one thing I've never understood is like, for instance, like fucking highways, right, and streets. Like we can put people motherfuckers in space. We got materials that don't break, don't bend, don't do shit. But you can't build a highway that doesn't, a pothole doesn't appear every other month. Like
Well, you know,
we still
and that's the other thing because they privatize that shit too. So you got quote unquote government money going to patch these potholes, but then they use uh, basically private companies to come out and do it. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to tack on a lot of labor to that. And what they do is they patch shit. They don't fix shit. They patch it.
right,
They
right,
fill the little
right.
pothole with inferior product to begin with. I mean, it, and then what happens is all the snow melts and erodes that little roadway again, and the pothole gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they come back and go, "Oh, we got to go fill it again," and that's how they make money.
Right.
And what all of this shows me is it just shows you how horrible people are, how horrible human beings are. This is why they need religion to sit there and keep them on the straight and narrow, because generally and just right out the gate, human beings are horrible. They will take advantage of anything, anything. I mean, let me
Yeah.
not get started on the goddamn insurance companies, but I digress. I just think this is just ridiculous. I mean, you have a governor. This is the governor of your state. You elected this man to sit here and run your state so you don't have to do it. If we want to talk about being lazy, lazy is all the people that basically want politicians to do all their shit for them. This is why I voted for you. You fix this. This is why I voted for you. You take care of that. I don't want to take care of that. So for 4 years spans, in between 4 years, you go off and do whatever the fuck you want to do and expect this one person, this one man, this one woman, if it's senators, and then or these few people, if it's House of Representatives, to run your state for you and to federally or to represent you federally, and you don't want to have nothing to do with it. You just want to make sure that the money's coming in, your retirement is okay, and you have fucking Medicare when you get old. And then when shit breaks down, shit hits the fan. You sit there and go, what the fuck happened here? This is why I put you in charge. This is why I put you in place. You put the wrong person in place. You put the asshole that no one liked as a kid because he was always a sneaky asshole. You put him in charge. Let me talk about Ted Cruz for a second. Ted Cruz, let, this son of a bitch left his
Transition.
dog. He left his dog.
And if anything's gonna take his ass out, it's leaving that dog before all the other shit. Like if he get actually gets voted out or if shit goes south for him, it ain't gonna be because he took his ass to Cancun. It's gonna be because he left that dog back at home.
He left a
You
dog
know
in
you
a
know how that
cold
go.
house. Oh, you know how
Yeah,
white
you
people
know
are
how that
about
go.
their pets.
Oh yeah,
White people treat their
that's
pets better than black folks.
why I said that's gonna take him out. Like leaving that dog is gonna be the shit that ends it for him. Like they're gonna be like, nah, you done, player. That's it. Folks do
You
not play. And I love my dog too. I mean, but folks do not play about their pets. That he could have left his daughters in that house cold, and people be like, I get it. I mean, you want to get away from your kids, but but leave that dog. That's a wrap for you, Teddy.
because they had a picture. They had a picture of the dog sitting in the front door. Like there's a shot of this dog in the door. Like I know they coming back, right? It is getting kind of cold. Like this dog looks so helpless. And then you go, how much of an asshole are you to sit here and leave your dog in a cold place while you go away and go to Cancun and then lie about it? Talking about, oh, I was just gonna drop them off. and then I was going to turn right around and come back because Texas is hurting. Use a goddamn lie. You was going to take your ass to Cancun and sit your ass in Cancun
Right.
until somebody sit there and go, Mr. Cruz, your power's back on. That's what the hell you going to do.
Well,
This
I know you saw. I know you saw there was a mariachi band playing outside his house. I thought that shit was hilarious. Like, I mean, and look, that dude's a. I mean,
Eddie Munster looking motherfucker. Let me tell you
yeah.
something. God
Like,
damn.
there's some people I don't give a fuck about. Like, and anything could happen to him, and I wouldn't give a shit. Like, it's similar like Rush Limbaugh dying this week. I didn't blink an eye. Like, oh well.
Hey,
In other news,
I
like,
heard
I
I
don't.
heard Popeye's got a fish sandwich.
Right. I don't give a fuck about Rush Limbaugh. Like, don't give a fuck. Fuck that guy. I know, and he's dead, and still fuck his ass. Fuck him.
You
Don't
know,
give a fuck. Like,
it,
there's some
it,
people you just don't give a shit about. Like, real talk, you just be like, whatever. Like, and what else?
there are some people in this world, in this life, that even Satan go, God damn, you's a fucked up individual. I don't even want you down here. Like seriously, you gonna fuck up my shit. I got a reputation, you know. You make me look bad. You're worse than me. There are some human
Right.
beings just like that. And I would think Rush Limbaugh is one, Ted Cruz is another. There's several other people. We can go into Donald Trump, we can go into Joe Manchin. Like before everybody goes,
Just
he's
start
just
with
naming
Joe.
Republicans. No, let's go
Nah, because
to
fuck Joe. Fuck Joe. A special fuck you to Joe Manchin. Like,
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
Democrat. Fuck that guy. Like, real talk.
And I
He might
get
as
you.
well be a Republican. I don't know.
Was yeah, I get what he's saying. He's doing his job for West Virginians. But let me explain something to you. You in your goddamn deliverance of a fucking state can't tell me what a decent wage should be. And I come from a big city like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. You telling me $11 is a decent wage is like a fucking virgin telling me what sex is. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you at all. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You can't tell me what's a decent wage and you in West Virginia. It's fucking West Virginia. Nah, everybody
I'm
from
just
West
saying
Virginia gonna be shitty.
these old white dudes. There ain't nobody listening to us from West Virginia. Like, I don't even know if they get podcasts in West Virginia. But ain't nobody. I guarantee you, not one person is listening to us from West Virginia. That's a guarantee.
I, Cecil, I turned on the apple, and
Right, the Apple. I guarantee that shit. And where are they finding us? That's my question. Like, this may fuck it. It may be a stereotype. You tell me where folks in West Virginia are looking at us. Are they on iTunes podcast channel? They checking us out on Audible? Fuck out of here.
they don't even know what the fuck Audible is. I'm gonna tell you right now, West Virginia. God damn that deliverance
Right.
ass fucking state. The only y'all have deliverance. That's your claim to fucking fame. Is deliverance. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, these white dudes are acting real out of pocket, and it really is borderline mania. And anybody, if you really look at the situation, you know what it's based on. It's based on these white guys feeling like they're going to soon be the minority, and they feel like they're losing control of the country that they think is theirs. Notice I said that they think is theirs because this
Yeah.
ain't their fucking country. Like, but they think they're losing that shit, so they are losing their minds. That's why they're saying super reckless shit. They don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I just saw some shit before we got on here today. Like, there's still Republican politicians out here still talking about this fucking election. Like, well, they're still. I mean, they're still out here trying to push this lie that the election was stolen from their ass. Matter of fact, whatever it is, whatever conference it is that these conservatives are having or some shit, CPAC, or where the fuck it's called,
Yeah.
like, if you pull up like the names of some of these like sessions that they're having, like, they legitimately think the election got stolen from their ass. Like they're having sessions and out and breakout sessions and shit. Like,
Yeah.
this is what happened, and so this is how we need to keep this from happening. Like literally live an alternative universe. Like Donald Trump and everybody who thinks like him, basically these folks, it's like a real life multiverse, like in Marvel. Like we just had the episode on comic book shit.
Right.
Like they live in a real life multiverse, like someplace else where the shit is happening differently. Like I feel like I'm missing out. Like maybe they just operating on a different plane than I am. Like okay, well, shit. What's your universe like? Tell me, shit. Let me check that shit out
Well,
because
I was about to say they're telling you what their universe like. I mean, in Arizona right now, Republican lawmakers are sitting here basically trying to write new laws to prevent people from going out to vote because a record number of people voted in the goddamn election. So they sat there and said, "Oh, instead of us getting a better candidate next time, why don't we just suppress the fucking vote? That should be okay. We'll just suppress the vote and we'll write it
and
into the law."
what they don't account for is the fact that there's areas in Arizona that are becoming exponentially more diverse. Like you cannot combat like just it, no matter what they try to do, the diversification of the population is something they're not going to be able to stop. You just can't do it. It's just not going to happen.
No,
Now,
you
now, you always got to be on guard for some shit they may try and do, whether they be medically or whatever, trying to depress certain populations. That's why I've always thought like the push against abortions and that type of stuff. I don't think that that's necessarily. I think that that's an effort. And this might be a conspiracy theory, but
mm,
I think that's an effort by
space
elite
lasers.
white folks, elite or rich white folks, or whatever the white boogeyman is, to ensure that more white women are having babies. Because the percentages tell us that more white folks have abortions than anybody else. And black folks a lot of times don't even have access to that shit. So I mean, you still got Planned Parenthood out here, which you got to kind of deal with. But the reality is, abortions probably impact the white community more than impact anybody, honestly.
Well,
And
yeah.
from their perspective, that reduces their population.
Well, I was going to say, and this is possibly leading more into the conspiracy theory. I was going to say abortion is only a thing because it affects white women.
Right.
I don't give two shits about what somebody would
Right.
say
They
to
don't give.
me if it was a list of black women getting pregnant.
All right.
They would give two cares if black women give. Go ahead, get rid of that kid.
Right.
I don't want more of you on this damn planet. I'm trying to stop y'all from having kids. I
Right.
want to sterilize y'all.
Right.
That's their idea for others. So
Right.
it abortion is a white thing. So you heard it here first. Abortion is a white issue, and it's
It
only an
is.
issue because it's a white issue.
Right. Facts. We'll save that for. We might even dig into that on another episode, but.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just gotta tell you, I mean, just generally, man. We can close it out here in a second, but like, just generally, like that Texas shit it was just a colossal clusterfuck. Like, it was just a totally different ball game. Like, I just don't understand. Like, and I'm still like, I talked about this at the beginning. I'm still tripping off of those crazy ass bills. Like, I don't even know what. I mean, I don't even know what we'd do. I mean, obviously we'd have to. I guess we guess you'd have to pay it. Where you gonna put yourself on a 5-year payment plan? Like, you about to pay that shit off like a car. Like,
That's what I'm saying. If you break it down like your first cheap car, you talking about some of these people have a 5-year plan to get out of this 1 month worth of an electric bill. God knows what next month's electric bill is going to be. I mean, the cleanup for this is probably going to be some months. Let's just call it what it is. Think about all the freaking house insurance claims that have to go through in Texas. Like, there's a lot of shit that's about to happen, and
right,
you don't know exactly how fast it's going to happen. And this is where also efficient government comes into play. So you talked about all this shit about doing it on your own, and the reason I'm going hard on Texas folks, because I know y'all like, well, goddamn, man, they just, I mean, people have died and they literally just went through a whole lot of shit. The reason I go hard on Texas because Texas every year makes it a point to try to secede from the Union. So, if you don't want to be part of the United States, I'm gonna use some terminology that they always use for us. Well, get the fuck out then. Go on about your business then. How about giving that piece of Mexico back to the Mexicans? I'm sorry. Like, I have no fucking sympathy for assholes in Texas. I have all the sympathy in the world for people in Texas that did not really expect this to happen to them. And they're decent people. They just so happen to live in a very warm climate because they thought they was running away from New York and Chicago and all these cold climates. Because I had friends who sat there and was like, man, I'm getting the fuck up out the Midwest. I'm taking my ass to Texas. I have friends that are in Texas. So I am wholeheartedly sending all the prayers in the world to them.
Right.
But these other motherfuckers, nope.
Yeah, I mean, and shout out, we got people. I got people down there, and best friends down there. And matter of fact, speaking of which, I want to send a shout out. By the time this episode gets released later, so basically, when y'all listen to this later on today, not today when we're recording it, but today when this shit's being released and you listen to it, my homeboy and his soon-to-be bride are getting married at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
All right, here
So
we go.
shout out. I'm gonna say your name just because I want to show you love. My homeboy Eric Owens and his beautiful bride to be Nikki. And I'm upset we can't be there because of the pandemic, but we're gonna celebrate next year. But want to send a shout out, congratulations to my homeboy for getting married.
Yep.
Beautiful lady, great woman. She's been great for him, so she upgrades him for real. So
He one of my best stage partners in the world.
so for real, I love you, bro. Congratulations and welcome to the family, Nikki. We'll bring you into the fold. So maybe that'll inspire us to do a love and marriage episode coming up soon. Maybe we'll
Yep.
see what happens. But
Hope she likes
that
dogs.
being said, I don't know. That's a good question. But hey, it's all good. But that being said, we appreciate y'all checking out this portion of it. As always, it's time to jump into the what the fuck news segment. My guess is this segment might be longer than usual. I'll be honest with you because I had a bunch of shit that popped up that I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I'll
Well,
let you start off first.
okay. So my my what the fuck news segment this week. Okay. Uh let me ask you something. All right, we didn't really touch on these COVID vaccines on this episode because I mean that in itself is a fucking episode and a half. Now, but
Cases are going down, by the way, though. But go ahead.
yeah. So if you were a person to get a vaccine, I guess we're still in phase one, maybe starting phase two. Um, would you consider yourself an essential worker, like something
No.
like
Oh wait, say it again. No, I didn't know where you're going. Go ahead.
no, I'm saying, would you like to be in this list of people getting vaccines? Would you consider be like these people are still the essential workers that are getting it, like the teachers and
No, it's typically at this point it's older, it's elderly, and it's essential workers. That's true. But
so
and then other folks who are getting shots are the folks who are kind of working their way into situations where they have to the shot they've taken the shot out of refrigeration and they have to use it up. So I know there's some younger folks who have been able to get it that way just because the
they
people
don't want it
cancel
to
appointments and
spoil.
shit like that.
Yeah, they don't want it to
Right.
spoil.
Right.
So all right. So when you said elderly, all right. Here's the headline. Here's the headline right here. 111-year-old woman gets COVID vaccine. Says wine, beer, eating what I like is my secret to longevity. In Greenville, South Carolina, as of this week, nearly 60 million doses of coronavirus vaccine have been administered across the United States. One of those recipients was 111-year-old Maria Allenbacher. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Allenbacher, the oldest known person in the state of South Carolina, and became one of the oldest people to be vaccinated against COVID-19 Friday. This woman sat there and said she pretty much eat what she won't, do what she won't, drink what she won't. That's how she feels as though she stays alive. Now, you could tell by the name this white woman. I know, I know for a fact they will not be handing out COVID vaccines to any 111-year-old black anybody, woman, man, no matter if you are 111 years old and you are Black, that's not happening for you. But I digress that point. She literally said she lived in Germany for most of her life. Oh, it writes itself. And then moved to the United States shortly after her 100th birthday. All right. So she's 111 years old. That means, holy shit, she's older. Damn, she's older than my father. Okay. So she was born in Germany in the early 1900s. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, she got the vaccine, huh? Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'll let you go ahead and think about that one.
So, are you telling us that Nazis aren't allowed to have the vaccine?
You tell
Nazis and their mistresses. Are you implying she's a Nazi?
I'm just doing math. I'm a math guy. That's all I do. I do the math.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I, I can't see them giving Farrakhan's mama a vaccine.
Not at all.
If she's still alive, I guarantee you, like Farrakhan's mom shows up, they like, nah,
Oh no,
not
you
gonna
you
happen.
you want that line over there? She getting the
Right,
fucking placebo. I'm gonna tell you that
right.
much. But this chick got the COVID vaccine at 111 years old. I mean, I'm not for ageism. Let me say that, but
Eh,
she's 111.
so Greg basically saying if you old as fuck, you don't have no business getting the vaccine because you close, you on deck,
You
you on the
you on deck.
That's what Greg is saying to y'all. Like, hey, so don't send the vitriol my way. Send it his way.
Oh, you can send it my way. If you 111 years old, yeah, you don't need to be getting no vaccines for nothing. For nothing. You just should go out in a blaze of glory. Just do whatever the fuck you want. Like I'm all for what she's saying. Do whatever the fuck you want. Eat what you want, do what you want, drink what you want. At this point, yeah, it's all borrowed. I mean, it we always say it's borrowed time, and you 32, you 35, you 40,
Right.
you 111. Come on now. Come on now.
That was fucked up. So, all right. So I'm gonna jump into one of mine. So, uh, and I actually we posted this on the show IG page. So, I thought this was shit, and this is another one that I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, this has got to be a joke. I was like, let me read this and actually see exactly what he actually said, because I mean, he couldn't have said what the title's saying. He said.
Oh, I know.
But
Yeah.
he did actually say it, right? So there's a Columbia professor, smart as fuck, right? Carl Hart admitted to he admits that he uses heroin every day. It's kind of like a nightcap. Like he was like, I will snort 2 to 3 lines a night in front of the fireplace, and so of heroin. Okay, so not smokes weed, but snorts heroin. Okay, and so I'm just sitting here like, okay. So I think what's important to understand about him is he's a neuroscientist, um, and
Scary.
he's very big on recreational drug use and how it should be allowed, right? So he's a 50-year-old father of three. He basically revealed he uses heroin on a regular basis, but says he doesn't have a drug problem. Says he's able to fulfill his obligations and responsibilities as both an educator and family man. He says that heroin, and I quote, use leaves him feeling refreshed and ready to take on another day. However, the professor admits to experiencing mild opioid withdrawal about 12 to 16 hours after the last dose. Hart detailed one particularly rough episode in which he was overcome with flu like symptoms, including chills, vomiting, diarrhea, and a runny nose. It was a pain that I will not easily forget. It was a new pain unlike any I previously experienced, he wrote. It was so intense that it radiated through my entire body. But despite that painful experience with heroin, He believes drugs is a useful tool in helping adults maintain a solid and I quote work life balance.
That nigga hooked. That this motherfucker is Ray. Remember in Ray when he was sitting in the that nigga's hooked. You can't tell me that you not hooked on heroin. He literally said, I had the worst pain ever and diarrhea. But I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna go back to it, but I
look,
ain't got no problem.
look, and so we were having some conversations on the page, and I get so we were having some good conversations with a friend of the show, and she's a nurse, so we were having some conversation, and um, points were valid as to not buying into the concept of addiction, so to speak, and some other stuff, and what exactly is the difference between like a heroin addiction versus like alcohol or some other stuff, right? But
Drugs and alcohol ruined my life.
one thing, I mean, I can you so look, I can get behind you potentially on the idea that okay, marijuana, people use that. It's a natural quote unquote drug, however it's characterized. And then I use the example like peyote, right? So Native Americans use peyote to kind of for spiritual uh what's the word ceremonies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I get that there's some stuff that may be characterized as drugs that may have more natural remedy type effects. But one thing you're not going to be able to do is you're not going to be able to pull me along on the concept that heroin or something like crack is a nightcap to your day. Like I'm not going. Like that's one you're not going to get me to sign on to. Like, well, you know what? I kind of see your point. What's a few lines of heroin every night? Like that's not a problem. Like really, like it's fucking heroin, man. Like
It's fucking heroin. That's what I'm saying.
like we're not talking like for people to equate it to like marijuana. Like it's not the same shit. Like it's fucking heroin. Like have you clearly some of you I've seen people like defending this shit in other venues. Like
There's no defense.
clearly you've never seen somebody addicted to a significant drug like heroin or crack. Like and it's funny that this came up because so my wife and my sister-in-law we had like an ongoing like joke and conversation. I forget how it came up. We were talking about in the context of I think we talked about this in the Love and Marriage episode.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that if you had a spouse or a loved one that somehow mysteriously without you knowing developed a crack addiction, would you stick around?
Nope.
And so I said to my wife, I said, first of all, nobody mysteriously has a crack addiction. Okay. Like it's not a thing. Like you don't sneak around doing crack. Like we're married. Like if we're married and I don't know you doing crack, I'm not paying attention.
I'm
Like
clearly not paying
I
attention.
can't be paying attention. So the reality is like if you've got a crack addiction and we're married, that means we've had a number of conversations. And like the first time you do crack, I feel like I'm gonna know, and there's gonna be a problem, and I'm gonna know that shit, right? Like, and who's just casually like, who has secret crack addictions?
Yeah, how do you have secret crack addictions? Because
That's
after,
like, crack's not one of those things where it's like a secret addiction. Crack is an addiction where you got friends that you kick it with that do crack as well. Like you all do crack.
yeah, together.
Like that's not a thing where it's like, well, I'm gonna go sneak and do this. I'm gonna go sneak and do this crack. Let me go burn this shit up someplace, and then let me put this. Like, that's not how this goes down, man. Like
Yeah.
so I thought it was just funny because of course I showed my wife the article. She was like, see people because her argument to me was you don't know who's out here using crack. Like I'm sure there's people pretty. She was like, I'm sure there's pretty a functional crack. I was like, there's no functional
There's
crackheads.
no functional
There's
crackhead.
no functional crackheads. And even in the context of this motherfucker using heroin, I mean, he's a neuroscientist. Like, I'm curious to know what his interpersonal relationships are like. I really would like to know because I feel like we're not getting all the information. I'm pretty sure that it's evident in some area of his life that he's a fucking heroin head. Like,
Oh yeah,
you're
and
not
I'm
going to say
wondering what school is he at because
he's at
there's
Columbia.
but see, I'm saying like what they don't have drug rules at Columbia.
Well, you know how I don't know, but what I do know is what I do know is that you're not going to tell me that there's no impact, like that nobody, like there's no issue at all. Like you doing 3 lines of heroin every night. Like you're not going to sell me on the idea that heroin is the same thing as drinking a glass of wine every night.
Well,
That
now
is not the same shit.
is heroin a hallucinogenic drug? Like,
No, it's a well,
no, I'm saying, can you
no, it's
hallucinate?
not really a hallucinogenic drug.
Okay,
It gives you a feeling, a high feeling. So like,
it's a euphoric.
it's a euphoric type drug. So it's an
Okay,
opioid, but it has side effects of things like memory loss, and I mean, and sure, other alcohol can do that as well. And I know they try and run these commercials about marijuana and how that makes your brain slow down, all type of shit. But I don't give a fuck. What you're not about to do is sell me on the fact that 3 lines of heroin a night is the same thing as a nightcap or me having a shot of tequila.
nah, nah.
Not the same shit. I don't give a fuck what you say. You can say
Yo,
what you want,
yo
however you
shot
want
of
to say it. Not
tequila.
the same shit.
Your shot of tequila is basically depriving your brain of oxygen for a short amount of time to produce that state that you're in. That's different because your shot of tequila, you could have a shot of tequila and never touch tequila again. One shot of
Right.
heroin.
First time you sniff heroin, like there's the problem, and so the question becomes like people are talking about, well, so he doesn't believe in the concept of addiction, so he's not addicted. You're absolutely addicted, like you said.
You haven't
If
stopped.
you right, like he said, I had the worst pain I've ever felt. I had diarrhea, vomited, but I'm back the next day smoking this heroin. Like you have a fucking problem. Like I guarantee you, I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's the
The first
definition.
time, the first time I drink tequila and I have the worst pain ever. I vomit, I got diarrhea, and all that shit he's talking about. I bet you I don't drink the tequila again. Like the last time I had a rough night on any alcohol, I guarantee I didn't have that shit. The last time I had like a rough night was years ago, and I had like one of those fishbowl drinks from one of those one of those cheap fishbowl drinks that they used to do at where else at Purdue,
Yep.
but it's a different place. It was a similar type of place.
Right.
And like next day, I was miserable all day, just kind of nauseous and just not feeling that great. I wasn't even that bad. Like I didn't definitely have no diarrhea. I definitely didn't vomit. Like I just I felt like shit. Like felt really bad.
Right.
Never had a fishbowl again. Never. Not gonna happen. Not gonna be cheap liquor. Nothing. Like I haven't touched that shit. So you're gonna tell me that after having heroin, you had a withdrawal, and you say it happens to you frequently for 12 to 16. Like let me read this shit again to y'all. Like he kind of glossed over it, but I hope you understand. Like, what was it? What was the time frame? Like
What's the
12 to 16 hours after the last dose, he had some mild withdrawals. Can you imagine that shit coming back to you 12 to 16 hours later? Like, can you imagine drinking alcohol and then 12 to 16 hours later, all of a sudden you having a withdrawal symptom from drinking?
this
Get
dude
the fuck out of here! Like,
like like
more,
there's a when I turned 27. Yeah. It was when I turned 27. My guys took, well, shit, no. We started at we started at Harry's. Let's go ahead and just call that what it was. We started at Harry's, but it was a house party of some sort. And all I know is the whole day they were pouring Dewar's scotch, and I just kept getting Dewar's. And it was Dewar's, and it was more Dewar's, and it was more Dewar's. Hell, Pinky was there. Pinky was there at this party, at this house. I don't
shout
know.
out Pinky.
Yeah,
I don't
what
know.
up,
I
Pink?
don't think she. I don't know if she listened to the show.
And
Like,
she better start listening to the show. But no, she was there, and all I know is I literally was playing spades. I was drunk off my ass. I knew I was drunk, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm 27 now." Like that's a milestone fucking birthday. It is not. I was just drunk. I was
it's a
just
random
drunk.
ass birthday.
It's a
Like,
random ass
motherfucker,
birthday.
it's Tuesday, motherfucker. Time to get fucked up.
You're right. So it is. It is. So I was just drunk, but they kept pouring doers. So the next day, I had the worst hangover in my entire life. And unfortunately, the next day was also the day of my son's baby shower in Chicago. And so I had to figure out how to sober up and be somewhat coherent uh, to go to this baby shower. But it was the worst hangover in my
Yep.
entire life. Guess who has not had doers? since 27. So when you tell me
Right.
I got
Right.
diarrhea and the worst pain of my entire life, but yeah, I do a couple of more lines later on that night. You a fucking addict.
Yeah, you're not gonna tell me, and you can talk to me all you want about not like about not believing in addiction. Motherfucker, you addicted. Like that's real talk. And that's not to say you can't get addicted to other shit. Because one of the conversations we had with the friend of the show, like in the comments, was basically talking about, well, people get addicted to food all the time. That's absolutely true, right? Like, and the example I use is like it's absolutely true. Like, and that's something that probably people need to talk about more than anything. Like anybody who's had like who hasn't had sugar for a long period of time and then has sugar, has something sugary, and then all of a sudden goes on like a sugar binge for
Binge. Yeah.
however many like weeks or months, like that shit is real. Like absolutely. So like the idea of diets and food is absolutely a conversation we need to have. But what we're not gonna do is equate somebody having a roll of thin mints to somebody doing 3 lines of heroin. Just we're not gonna do that. All right.
At all.
Like that's not what we're gonna do here. But I could go off on that tangent forever. I just that shit was amazing to me. I was like, I can't believe this shit. And he's a smart dude too. But whatever. Like, did you have another one? I got one more, and then we can
No,
kind of
go ahead.
close this shit out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So another more. Well, that was lighthearted too. But so in 2020, it looks like scam artists who were lurking on dating apps and social media made away with a record haul of money. So what that means is that approximately $304 million of money was reported lost to romance scams in 2020. So
Exactly what were
basically,
they doing?
so scammers lurk on dating apps and social media, strike up conversations with people until they build up trust to eventually ask for money. And the prevalence of those type of scams have been on the rise in the past 4 years. So in 2020, there's a 50% jump, probably because everybody's at home.
Hold on, my
And
pen went out. Wait. So they did what now?
all right, like trying to get your hustle on. Like, I mean, I guess, I mean, shit. What's the fuck is the difference? You got people out here with them OnlyFans joints. Like, what's the difference?
I know, right?
But apparently, people's getting paid on these dating apps. Like, who? I want to know who of y'all are out here sending money to motherfuckers you meet on dating apps that you've never seen before. Like, I need to know. Explain that to me. Like, how that conversation goes. Hey, how are you doing? What's your favorite color? Oh, do you like Martin? Yeah, I like Martin too. Did you like the new Endgame movie that came out? Sure. Hey, would you mind sending me $2,000?
I'm
Sure.
yeah, I'm basically taking a class to write for the new in-game movie that's
Right.
going to come out in a
Whatever
couple of
the
years.
excuse is, like, how does that work? Like, no, motherfucker, I haven't seen you. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm not giving you any money. Like, fuck out of here. Talking to me about this shit.
Why won't you zoom me?
All right, fuck out of here. Like, I guess, and I mean, I'm obviously off the market, so I don't know. And I didn't engage in dating apps prior to, but I know that's the new thing now, and I get it. I mean, these days, why not? Fuck it. I mean, the dating apps cut out half the legwork that you typically had to deal with out just dating a motherfucker. Like, they clear out all the roughage. But anyway, that being said, hey, that's episode 37. Right?
I mean,
Like, we hope you had a good time. Hope you guys are staying warm. All jokes aside, to the folks in Texas and to our people in Texas,
yeah.
and we hope you made it through the winter storm okay, and not didn't get too far behind or didn't get affected too much, but still think it's bullshit that people paying over 10 grand on a bill, but we've kind of beat that dead horse. But hopefully you're doing well. And even folks in other areas of the country in the cold, I know, especially the homeless. I mean, that's one issue that is should be near and dear to everybody's heart as far as dealing with the homeless, and especially in times like this when it's super cold outside, how it's warming up. But shit, Greg, let them know what you need to let them know, man.
As always, subscribe. We are the All Out of Fucks podcast. And guess what? We are on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. We're on Libsyn. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Audible. And yes, we are on YouTube. Select episodes on YouTube, but we are on YouTube and we are All Out of Fucks.
That's what's up. We about to go do a few lines of heroin as our nightcap. We'll holla at y'all. Peace.
Storming the Capitol.